All right, welcome back to today's verdict. I'm your host and trial attorney, David Lesh. We're going to be talking today about the Washington Commanders and possible sale of the team. And we have with us today Jodi Balsam, professor at Brooklyn Law School, a sports legal expert, and a former NFL counsel. Jodi, thanks for being here today.
Great to be with you.
Yeah, I find this fascinating. Dan Snyder, has really been in the news for at least 15 to 20 years, I think, in terms of whether or not he's a good owner, a bad owner. Those in Washington, many have been asking him to sell the team for years, yet he somehow manages not to have to do this. He talks to other owners. He has, potential issues that he could, put out in the public that they don't want out there. Tell me, why now? Why does it look like Dan Snyder might finally have to sell the team?
Well, the culmination of the investigations into his workplace over the last few years have developed a record of toxicity, harassment. He's also mishandled some of the business challenges of the team, including its stadium situation, its naming situation. At this point, he's considered to be unhelpful to the league's image, unhelpful to the team's success. There's such active public sentiment against him. And now, most recently, you may have read that the DC Attorney General has lodged a lawsuit against him and the team for violations of consumer protection statutes. So we are sort of at a pressure point right now where he's doing nobody affiliated with the sport any good by continuing to own the team. And there are other potential bidders ready and willing to lay down their $5 to $7 billion.
With respect to the potential for a new stadium, and I know that never transitioned. Now they don't want to give him any money for any kind of new stadium. What was the issue? That he didn't want to spend his own money, that he didn't want to invest back into the team? Where was the criticism there?
Well, the issue is one that arises in many stadium development projects around this league and other leagues, which is what justifies the public subsidy. And with a team in a league as wealthy as the NFL, why shouldn't the owners front the money? There is some public justification in supporting that project through infrastructure, but to actually levy bonds and supply the billions it takes to now create a new stadium is something that's meeting a lot of public resistance around professional sports, although the counterexample is Buffalo and the promise of its state and municipality to invest heavily in building it a new stadium.
For years, he was pressured to change the name of the team from the Redskins to the Commanders or to something else. And it was no, 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 no. And then finally, yes. And it's almost the same thing here. It's like, no, 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 I won't sell the team. I have dirt on other owners. I can put that out there. Don't make me do that. And finally, I guess we're at a pressure point, and it looks like it may possibly happen. But who's interested, I guess, is what I want to know. Who's up there for a possible sale?
Well, I think most of the press so far has focused on Jeff Bezos, the Amazon founder, who has emerged as the likeliest candidate to purchase the franchise. There are members of the former minority ownership group who are now also interested. So a couple of years ago, you may have read that there was a minority ownership group in the Washington Commanders, owned 40% of the team, and were involved in a series of disputes over the team and how it was managed and operated. And under the ownership agreement, Dan Snyder was entitled to buy them out, and he did. So that former group of owners that had a 40% stake in the team up until 2020 have now come back, some of them, and they are also seeking to make a bid. We also have the Fenway Sports Group as a possible contender. So the Fenway Sports Group already owns the Boston Red Sox, the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think they also own a NASCAR team, and they owned the English Premier League, that's the English Soccer League, Liverpool Football Club. They are expected to sell Liverpool for as much as $5 billion. They want out of the English Premier League. The Fenway Sports Group, once they consummate that sale, will have $5 billion to spend. And I could see them pivoting to purchase an NFL team. Not sure who else might be in there, but those are the top three candidates that I could think of.
It's interesting that there was a time where they didn't want anybody who owned another professional team to come in and buy an NFL team, but those days are gone. Let me ask you a little bit about what would be needed. I know that the principal owner has to have about 30% of a stake in the team. Also, 3/4 of the league owners have to approve this. Is that how it works?
Yes. So for all major league business decisions, including things like transfers of ownership, the league requires a supermajority vote. 3/4 or 24 out of the 32 owners have to approve the transaction.
That's, that seems like it could be a tough sell here because, I mean, I'm sure he's got a couple of friends in there. 3/4 is a lot. I mean, I know.
Well, the way it works is that comes to a vote only after the selling owner has agreed to a transaction. So the way it works is that you want to put your team up for sale, you solicit bids, you get advice, as Stan Snyder is from Bank of America. You set a term sheet. The league then does due diligence, right? So the driver of the sale is the selling owner. Once they present the transaction to the league conducts intensive due diligence on the prospective new owners, whether they're buying a majority or a minority share. They do financial capacity and individual character, background checks. Once the owner is fully vetted, the prospective owner is fully vetted, that package comes to the 32 owners for a vote. So they're voting after the bona fides of the prospective owner are fully established, and they're satisfied that they're going to be welcoming into their club somebody who will be a good citizen, a good member. Looking into your crystal ball, does it look like this is going to happen? Is it a possibility within the next 6 months to a year? What if the Commanders go on a run? It could always happen, make the playoffs. What are your thoughts? Well, I think the more successful the team is, the happier everyone will be, whether you're the selling owner or the incoming owner. I don't know that it'll have much influence on whether the sale happens or not. That's going to be a function of the league's general distaste for Dan Snyder continuing as a partner and his willingness to finally bow out. By the way, ever since the revelations about the toxic workplace at the Washington Redskins, Dan Snyder has had to take a back seat and has not been allowed to formally run the team. Team leadership is now in the hands of his wife, Tanya Snyder, and the suspension of him from fully engaging with his team is indefinite. I'm not sure there's much glory or psychic reward anymore for Dan Snyder in owning the team. So whatever ego drives people to want to own NFL teams, Dan Snyder's ego has taken such a big hit here. It may just not be worth it. They always say, that's the billionaires just want, you always get a bigger boat, but there's only so many teams out there to be able to buy. So it's tough to part with them. Listen, Jodi, we want to thank you very much for being here, giving us some great insight. Maybe join us in the next couple of months and let us know how this starts to unfold. Pleasure to be here. Terrific. All right. Stay with us. Today's Verdict has so much more right after this.